Hi everybody, welcome to this JavaScript tutorial. Today we're going to have a go at creating a score to grade converter. What we're going to do when we click the button, the user is going to be asked to enter a score. And my program is going to convert that score to a grade. For example, if I enter 95, the grade will be an A. But if I enter 76, the grade will be a C. Okay, and we're also going to be using images in today's tutorial. So hopefully you've downloaded some files, you've downloaded the HTML page, and you've downloaded 3 images, which are PNG files. We've got excited.png, sad.png, and satisfied.png. We'll be using these later in the tutorial. So let's get started. In our web page, we've got some CSS and we've got some HTML. We've got a button here, and when we click the button, we're going to call a function called calculate grade. This is the task that we call when the button is clicked. Okay, and here is the button. So let's start to design this function. We're going to do it in JavaScript. Function calculate grade. This is the function that we're going to design. Now then, the first thing we want to do is we're going to be storing 2 values in our program. We're going to be storing a score value and we're going to be storing a grade value. So we need 2 variables to store this data in our computer program. I'm going to call the first one score and the second one grade. Now, if you're new to variables, don't panic. We'll try and figure out what these are doing as we develop our program. Now, to get the score into the program, we're going to ask the user to enter the score. We're going to use something called prompt. So, enter the score. Okay. So let's save this and just see if that works. Yay, it works. Okay, so I can enter a score. Okay. Now, once we've got the score into the program, we need to determine the grade. And this is my logic. If score is greater than 90, curly bracket, then the grade is an A. Okay? So we get some data from the keyboard, we store it in a variable, and then we evaluate the variable. And we give some data to another variable called grade, and we'll use this variable later again. Else, if score is greater than 80, grade is a B. Else, if it's not an A and it's not a B, then the grade is going to be a C. Okay, so this is my logic for calculating the grade. We look at the score and then we calculate the grade. Now what we need to do is get the score data onto the web page and the grade data onto the web page here. So I've created 2 H2 tags to do that, and JavaScript wants to communicate with those tags. So I need to give them an ID. So I'm going to call this one score data, and I'm going to call this one grade data. Okay, so they have IDs now. I can communicate with them from JavaScript. This is how I'm going to do it. Document.query selector. I want to communicate with the score data element. So I want to target this ID here. So that's score data. I need to explain something. This stuff here in between the tags is sometimes called the inner HTML. So the inner HTML of this H2 tag is score. And the inner HTML of this tag is grade at the moment. I want to change that. So score data dot inner HTML is now going to be my score value, which is stored in this variable score, and document dot query selector. This one, I want to find the grade data tag. So we're looking, JavaScript is going to look for this one, the grade data tag. And it's going to set the inner HTML to be whatever is stored in this grade variable. Okay, so we're pushing these variables into the web page using JavaScript. So let's see if it works. We're going to save that. Let's refresh the page. I'm going to enter 99. Hopefully it's going to be an A. It didn't work. Oh, my JavaScript didn't work. First thing I'm going to do is inspect the console. Is there an error? Yes, there's an error. Now, because I'm quite experienced with JavaScript, I know what this error is. If I didn't know, I might have to do some research. Open a new tab in my browser and go and do some research. But I know what this error is. I've seen it before. The problem is, this score data thing here that JavaScript is trying to find up here is an ID. So we need to say, hey, JavaScript, this thing here is an ID. You need to use the hashtag. So let's give those hashtags. We'll save it again. We'll refresh the page. 99. We're hoping it's an A. Yes, it worked. Okay. Now, I tell you what, underneath the text, I'm going to put an image. I'm just going to take that out of there. Let's put it under the text. Now, if the score is greater than 90, I want this excited.png file to be displayed. Okay, so I want to change the src of this image tag by using JavaScript. You've guessed it, the image tag needs an ID. So let's call this ID emotion. Okay. Okay, so now we're ready to let JavaScript play with this image tag. Let's do it. If score is greater than 90, the grade is A, and document.querySelector. Now we're looking for the ID emotion, hashtag emotion, dot src equals excited.png. Okay. So if score is 90, we calculate the grade and we also set the image to be excited.png. So let's see if this works. We're going to click the button. Well, remember, when we click the button, we jump into this function and then we start to do all of this JavaScript. Okay, so let's do it. We're going to click the button. We're going to enter 99. That's an A, hopefully. Yes, it worked. So see if you can get that going, and then we'll continue with the rest of today's task.